Welcome to Real Estate Revamp, Zoe and Bowie.
Thank you.
The dynamic duo of Elwood, Rexy. They're taking
Elwood.
Elwood by storm.
Bowie and I are very thankful to be here.
Bowie's our first
canine
canine
guest.
guest. Hopefully first of many.
He's starting at the top, so
That's
We are. It's
this
all
is the
downhill from here.
downward dog.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Part-time yoga, part-time front of house at Elwood.
He's the star of the show here. I've never seen a downward dog like that, and I do a lot of Pilates.
Zoe, let's start with you. We'll get to Bowie in a moment.
I don't know what she's doing. We'll just let her do her thing.
Yeah, stage fright.
Tell us about your career. When did you start in real estate? Why did you start in real estate?
Started just over a decade now. So
You
I
don't
would
look
have
old enough to
been-
be a decade.
I know, I would have been early 20s. Out of school, did a couple of degrees that failed. So
What did you study?
architecture
Okay.
and graphic design, both for about a year. And just school wasn't for me. Uni wasn't for me, I should say. I was always quite academic in school, but I was the naughty kid that kind of like didn't want to do the homework and that type of thing. But I was somewhat academically gifted, so I kind of coasted through school and went into the degrees and just wanted to, be a little freer, I guess. So dropped out of both of them pretty quickly.
But architecture and design is similar to what you're doing now, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. Growing up, I think I was quite lucky that I kind of had both creativity and then an analytical brain as well. So, for example, I was like a maths geek, but then I played music. And so I kind of got both of those things together. And I'm very creative, kind of by nature. I don't know what's going on here. You're right.
Downward dog.
And so architecture and graphic design, it kind of actually marries the two of mathematics and kind of creativity and art. So I think that's why I resonated with kind of both those fields. But alas, school wasn't for me after school, I should say. So dropped out of both of those. I was actually a dog trainer for about 5 years.
There you go.
Is this one of
Which
your
was an awesome
lessons?
year.
Are you going to show off your skill set?
Which was fun and games and awesome. Like you couldn't choose a more enjoyable job, really, coming to work and hanging out with dogs all day. But wanted a career and didn't know where to turn. My dad was kind of a quasi builder. He kind of does construction developments every now and then. And he said, why don't you try real estate? And I was like, yeah, cool, whatever. Went and got my certificate, diploma, whatever it's called.
Easy to
And
get back then.
yeah, hard now, I know. 1 week of work and then you're qualified. Which is interesting.
Oh no! Back then it was like an hour. I think you could just there was a backdoor quiz and you could copy the
Yeah.
answers and off you go. You open a
You've
cereal
got one,
box.
haven't you?
Nah.
And honestly, like I reflect back on where I was, and I was so green by way of didn't even understand what real estate was, had no idea what buying or selling a house was, had no business acumen. I just literally needed a job. It's as simple as it gets. And I remember I was just dispersing resumes. Like I still, if I go back into my Hotmail account, I did it recently, and I just sent my resume to like hundreds of agents, just like, hey, I'm looking for a job. Here's my resume. It had nothing on it, of course, because I just had dog training and that was it, and school. Had a few responses, had a few interviews, actually with people from the Buxton network, which is funny to reflect on. And then landed a gig through a recruiter at an agency in St Kilda, and here I am, 10 years later, basically.
Was
But-
Buxton the first office that you joined?
no, I was at Biggin Scott in St Kilda. So they were one of kind of the oldest in the area. They had a big office in Fitzroy Street, a big, beautiful old mansion. So started there with directors Claudio and Carl. Carl's still a very good friend of mine. He was one of my first mentors, and I very much attribute a lot of my success to his mentorship and guidance in my very early years of real estate. Still speak to him, every couple of months. He's a great guy. And yeah, just started as a PA and just slowly progressed to where I am today. So a really organic, gradual burn with my career, and no rhyme or reason why I got into it. I think like a lot of people that you speak to, it's just something you kind of stumble into. And I think with it, it kind of does blend that analytical and then creative mind into one to some degree. And it's just something that I was good at for whatever reason. And yeah, it's been a really fun, enjoyable journey to get to where I am today and to get to hang out with you guys. For
Aw.
example. Bring my
You're
dog
the
to work
lucky
every
one.
day. What a blessing.
So we're going to get to where you are today, which is the director of the Buxton Elwood office. But to get to that point, obviously your career would have had a lot of ebbs and flows, and it was marked by changing brands a few times before settling really back into the Buxton network.
Back home.
Yeah, you went back home. Can you talk us through your journey? What did the first 12 months look like? How did you get to directorship?
Yeah.
The highs, the lows, like talk us through, tell us the story.
Yeah, sure. I think it took a while for the penny to drop with me. As I mentioned, it was just a job, like just pay my bills, go to work, have some purpose. And
You mentioned your mentor. What influence did he have at this early stage?
well, Carl bought me my first suit. It was like a bit of a, not a weird, but like a what's the
Initiation.
movie? No, it's the movie Pretty Woman. Is that the movie?
Ah, yes.
Is that the movie?
Yeah.
That's a very interesting movie to compare it to.
Is that the movie Pretty Woman? You know, the Julie Roberts one?
Yes.
Yeah, anyway.
Yes. But she was a high-end escort, though.
well,
so
look,
let's just clarify that
She's
it's
a
not.
street escort.
Oh, yes, true. She was a street escort.
I was a low-end real estate PA at the time, so a little bit topsy-turvy. But anyway, Carl was just a nice guy, and you know, we just got along. Like our personalities clicked, and he cared for me. I was going through some troubles when I was younger that he had been through himself in his adolescence, and kind of pulled me out of that, and kind of showed me this is a path that you could have. So he was probably my first mentor and my first strong male influence in my life, to be honest. And he kind of just showed me the way. So
If it wasn't for him, do you reckon you would have had the same career path?
what's that? Sorry.
If it wasn't for him, do you think you'll have the same career path?
Who knows? Like, I feel really blessed that where I've stumbled into with my agencies and my offices, that I've had really strong influences that I actually get along with really well, that are some of my best friends still to this day. So I think I'm lucky to that regard, but potentially not. I've never thought about quitting real estate since I got into it. It's kind of just been a slow burn. I'm sure there's been a few moments where I've thrown my toys out of the cot and had a bit of a bad day.
Haven't we all?
But I've never thought about leaving as such. But I just started as a PA and found my feet, and you know, was very much buyer driven, and you know, hustling to get a deal done, and just slowly kind of earned, you know, more money, which, you know, is really the only reason that you're in real estate to some degree, is the financial reward, because it's so all-encompassing, you know, the industry, that if the financial reward isn't there, you could be doing something else that requires less of your soul to be, you know, sucked every day, in a good way. But yeah, it's honestly just been one step at a time. PA, sales consultant, senior sales consultant, more of a leadership in sales, like a, you know, a mentoring kind of juniors below me, or not below me, sorry, mentoring juniors that are working alongside me. And then the directorship kind of just popped up, and that was the next organic step to take. I wish I took that step earlier, but, you know, it came at the right time, and yeah, here I am now with a new office, which is super duper exciting, and I feel really honoured and blessed to have had that opportunity. And my dog comes with me everywhere. So what are your topic scenario?
How does the mentality, though, Zoe, change from being an agent to being a business owner? Because I see it all the time. Great agents are not always great business owners.
Sure.
What support did you get from the Buxton Network to become a director? And what skills did you have to tap into that you didn't already have when opening Buxton Elwood?
So I think the progression from agent to director for me came when I recognised that my impact could be seen not just on the sales board, but in my influence of the team around me, which was there regardless of whether that directorship title was attached to my email signature or not, so to speak. But there is a bit of responsibility that I believe comes with that title. You can no longer be the drunkest person at the Christmas party, for example. You can no longer respond poorly to a client. Like, you need to set the tone and the example. And I was getting there anyway. Like, there's definitely been a lot of, you know, progression in my maturity as a person and as an agent, and how I handle myself in business. But I think it came of recognising that I can have a better impact and input in my team, and something that I, you know, have always enjoyed and thrived on is seeing others succeed around me with genuine authenticity, whether it's been my friends or my family, and in this case now my peers. So stepping into that role, I guess, has given me, I always had a seat at the table, I always had a voice, a very loud voice, for Arthur and Matt, but I'm very vocal. But then it became kind of an official voice, I guess, so to speak, whereby I'm now involved in decision making. My opinions and thoughts have respect at the table, I guess. And so it was something, again, that organically occurred, but I think for myself and the business was a really phenomenal step collectively. I think that the business has done so much for me, but I also conversely believe I've done so much for the business. And, you know, my business partners and my managing directors, I think, would attest to that. We're grateful on both sides of the fence for where we sit, is how I feel.
Yeah.
How is it being, I hate bringing gender into the equation because I truly don't think it matters, but a female in a heavily male-dominated space.
Yeah.
And I know the other directors of Buxton very well. I've had such a privilege of getting to know them really, really well. But you were, I guess you and Nancy were at the same time the first female directors in that network. Do you think that was do you find there was challenges to get there because of being a female? Or what challenges are there being a female in a male-dominated industry or a female director, if any?
For sure. I think the beauty of being a female in a male-dominated world is that we are often underestimated.
Yes.
And so when you come to the table and you are well-spoken, you know, you hold your ground and, you know what you're talking about, it's almost like a surprise, like, this chick's actually quite switched on. And so I felt, you know, in the early stages of my career, I was underestimated. And then when I came out and I was good at what I did, it was like, you know, this chick knows what she's doing, I guess. So I think there's pros and cons. I think, you know, women definitely do start one step behind the starting line when it comes to waking up in the morning, putting on my makeup, putting on my heels. Like, my natural habitat is my tracksuit pants.
Yeah. We talked about this before, nails, hair, the bane of our existence.
So, you know, even that labour, I know it sounds really trivial and, you know, men may not quite comprehend it, but there's labour.
Some do.
Yeah. Well,
Princess
you're a very
breakfast.
groomed man, right? So you feel my pain. But getting out the door, you know, there's one more step to take, basically.
Yes.
So that in itself, I think women need to be, in my opinion, a little more resilient. You know, it can be a balance as well between being assertive but then not too assertive when you're judged as a female, if that makes sense, where you coined, you know, a bitch, or, you know, she's too much or she's too aggressive.
Yeah.
And it's just a bit of a balancing act sometimes for a female. But for me, I see it as my advantage. And, you know, I grew up as a tomboy. I played sport. I did karate. Like, I'm a boys girl. And so I think for me, Bowie,
I don't know why you're saying she doesn't like boys.
She's selective. She likes gentlemen. I think I have a masculine energy to me as well, whereby it's a bit of the yin and yang within me. I'm not a girly girl. I can be assertive. And so for me, I think it's a good blend personally. But in our office, we're lucky enough that we can marry the female, not literally, but with the male, and come to the table with both genders, which I think is really important. Respectfully, you know, whether it's two females or two males, you know, I don't think that dynamic is the best you can offer your client. I think one of each, male, female, is you know, really important. And it's not to say, like, Dave and I, who's my business partner at Elwood, we always joke that I'm the bad cop and he's the good cop. But you may usually think that those roles would be reversed, but in our instance, it's not. So was it harder to get to the directorship? No, not in my personal office, not in my experience, but, you know, I'm very much aware that for some females in real estate, it's a really challenging landscape to navigate at times.
Do you think though, Zoe, I mean, looking at the Buxton network, particularly your network, Port Melbourne, St Kilda, Albert Park and Elwood, it is riddled with highly successful women.
Yeah.
More than I've seen in most other brands in the Melbourne market. And I've never seen a more highly concentrated level of extremely intelligent but beautiful women within one network that have proven to become directors or number one agents in the area. We can't really sort of talk about the success without talking about the support of the directors within that network that I don't think they're biased in gender in any capacity, but they've really sort of nurtured female agents to be empowered enough to become directors or number one agents in the area. Do you think that's due to, I guess, their mentality or their mentoring? Like, how do you think how do you think they've created this?
I mean, you'd have to say that influence must have created the landscape that women can come in, you know, and succeed in our office. And, you know, 3 top performing agents in our group is myself, Natalie and Nancy, amongst Arthur as well, and of course the boys, but to have 3 females in our respective suburbs being number 1 agents, and, you know, amongst the Buxton leaderboard, which we get sent every month, like we're up the top for most things, both volume and you know, GCI. You know, women can't succeed unless they're comfortable and they're given a platform to succeed on and be championed in doing so. And, you know, my personal directors have been sensational in, you know, cushioning me and comforting me and making me feel safe. And I think safety for a female is paramount in coming up, you know, coming into this industry and being successful. And I think most females would say in a male-dominated industry, no matter whether it's banking or finance or real estate, there's times where we don't feel safe. And for me, my environment has been the polar opposite. Like, safety is paramount in my office. So that's how I feel anyway. And the boys are my best friends. Like, you know, I've said this a lot and they always chuckle, but, you know, Arthur and Matt are like my brother and my father. And I mean that when I say it.
I can.
I'm getting kisses here.
Do you want me to put her away?
No.
Rex loves the female attention. Don't worry, he'll take it. He's lapping it up.
But used to getting French kissed on set.
Yeah. But safety and guidance, for sure. I think women need that to succeed. And we
Zoe,
have that.
100%. But also the industry is riddled with misogyny.
Yeah.
It's riddled with narcissism. It's riddled with men who, unfortunately, and I hate to say it out loud, not just the real estate industry, but any industry that's male dominated, that can sexualize a woman. To be in an office or to be in an environment where you are feeling 100% safe and every female is given equal opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad to say that we have to recognise that, but
sure.
it's been recognised since, I mean, Buxton's sort of inception into that Port Phillip market. You have some of the most exceptional leaders that I've had the privilege of recruiting for in the past.
The poor guys, they are outnumbered.
They are.
I tell you, and they feel it.
Oh, yeah.
But no, we've just had like two of our long-term staff have just had babies, or 3 in fact, and, you know, they're all returning to work, and there's a real support from the guys that, you know, is not always felt, I think, in any office or industry. But it's not just my 4 offices, it's Buxton as a whole and as a network. Some of our best leaders and most successful agents are women, and, you know, there's a culture that Buxton has bred that, you know, maybe hasn't always been there, but they've made a concerted effort to create it. And here we are with some of the most successful agents in the state working under our banner and being championed when they succeed. And, you know, it's so unique and it's so rare. I've been in a few different networks. I've seen behind the curtains of a few, and whilst some agencies or networks will preach equality or preach, you know, powerful women, it's not the case, and it's not always authentic, unfortunately, and that's just the world that we live in. So, you know, for me, I've stayed at Buxton because of the comfort, because of the guidance, because of the safety, and because there's been a clear pathway for my success that I've walked with people alongside me, like Natalie, like Nancy, you know, holding the hand, quite literal, of the likes of Arthur and Matt, who are guiding me and supporting me along the way. And I think that's super unique based on what I see and maybe what you see. And I feel so blessed to have that. I can't thank my lucky stars enough for where I've landed and with the people that I've landed with as well. Like, honestly,
that's beautiful.
I do these, you know, these podcasts, and I'm driving thinking, what am I going to say? And, you know, I always want to be my authentic self and just, you know, be quite relaxed and laid back, and I never kind of practice what I'm going to say, but organically it always comes out how thankful I am for Arthur and Matt. And I say it to them, you know, as well, and make it a little bit awkward. I'm like, oh, this is weird. And I'm like, no, you guys are so important to me, you know. And now with Dave as well, like, we just had our first year anniversary for Buxton Elwood on Tuesday.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's been a phenomenal success and a you know, awesome year for us both. And even for him to put up with me, you know, because I can be a lot. I'm punchy. I'm a bit of a firecracker.
I can't see it. Can you, Rex?
No.
I don't think Zoe's the problem.
No.
But to have his support it's just really cool, and I feel really grateful for it.
That's really beautiful. What I want to know now, Zoe, is you've peeked behind the curtains of other brands. You've been an agent yourself. You were someone that very early on was identified without any sort of skill set at the time or any kind of work experience. as a director now and building your own team underneath you and building, I guess, your own culture, what is most important to you? Where, like, what sort of culture and brand are you trying to build in that Elwood pocket? Is it a relaxing, like, tell me what you're trying to build?
Yeah. Look, I'm super relaxed, like, just in my everyday nature, and I bring that into work with me. I don't put on this Superman or Superwoman suit and change demeanour when I come to work. I am who I am 24/7, which is a gift and a curse sometimes, I think. But I think the best way I could put it would be, and it's not like we talk about Elwood, but Elwood is one of 4, and we are a cohesive team. So we're not segregated. We're not, dismembered from the other 3. We're a good team.
Sales teams meetings and stuff. Do you do 1 or do you do 4 separate?
We do 2. So we do all 4, and then we do St Kilda Elwood. So we kind of segregate. Fitzroy Street's kind of the boundary, and there's a bit of a division in marketplaces for that reason. So we kind of do specific teams, and then we come together as well. But I think it would just be, hard work, no ego, would maybe be the motto, or the good way to put it is that we work our asses off, but we don't come in with the ego. Like, I think that's something that we leave at the door. We're human, we're authentic, and I think we project that, and that's why we resonate with. That's why I attribute my success to personally. I'm not the most well spoken, the most well networked, the most experienced in the room, but I am authentic in my nature, and that's what I think. And I think that resonates because it's a human interaction. And if you come in and you feel like a robot, or you don't resonate with the person, then I don't want to work with you. I don't want a finance broker to make me feel like a dummy, or to be, not human, or a lawyer, whoever it is. You got to have that human interaction and that energy exchange, and I think that's what we offer.
We had a candidate interview with Zoe's office last week. And this candidate had multiple interviews scheduled, and the feedback was that when she arrived at the office,
Bowie
was at reception.
Yeah.
Bowie greeted her.
You came out in activewear. She's like, it felt, and from the...
And I was hungover.
Oh, well, there you go. I didn't know that. I don't know if I did, I wasn't going to mention that on camera. But
it was a Friday, so
she was what she enjoyed about it, and she was going to other brands that are, somewhat competitive agencies in your area. And she said, I felt so relaxed as soon as I met Zoe. And firstly, when she walked in and saw Bowie, and I think there's a reason we wanted Bowie here, because a dog in any environment instantly creates a sense of calm. Yeah. And it's like the dopamine that's released from our brains.
She's also vacuuming the ground for you if there's any crumbs.
Thank you so much, Bowie. But that authenticity sold that candidate, and it weighed up against all the other interviews that she had that were quite formal, and I hate to say it was white men in suits who sat there and asked her about her strengths and weaknesses, whereas you came in completely authentic, in your activewear, with your doggy. Obviously, you told her that you were hungover from the night before. But what does that tell us, Zoe? It tells us that the current market and the candidate market crave authenticity, and that old school approach of sitting across from someone and asking them about their strengths and weaknesses, and your stereotypical real estate office, there's still merit for it, but the modern world is about authenticity. And when you want to grow, or you're wanting to recruit, retain and develop, or continue growing that Buxton network into more market, that human element or that authenticity really shines through, and you're already showing that with candidates that you're interviewing.
And we also want to, here she goes again. She's got a lust for you, Rexy. We want to attract that kind of candidate as well. We want someone that's relaxed and easygoing, good at their job. Like, don't get me wrong, you've got to be highly skilled at what you do, but you don't need to be uptight and rigid. I'm certainly not. And that's the person that we want to attract into our business as well. One thing I think you can control is culture, mostly. And we're lucky that in Elwood, we are a smaller team as part of a larger team, but we are growing slowly, organically, and really selectively. And so the person that we bring in next into our team, they must align with culture. We must be able to sit with them for 40 hours a week and have a joke. If you can't do that, I don't care how good you are, it's not going to work for either of us. We've had some really great interviews, as with people that are highly skilled, highly reputable, and the synergy just wasn't there. And for us, that's probably a number one priority. Like, you can teach skill, you can teach scripts, you can teach how to sign a sales agreement and negotiate, but the personality is something you can't change. And so I think Buxton as a whole, and specifically in my office that I man, or we run, Dave and I, that's paramount for us, is that culture, and you can control it, especially while it's small and it's organic growth. Once it gets a bit bigger, as we're discovering with now 55 staff in our 4 offices, culture is something that really needs to be focused on and tuned, if not weekly or monthly, then probably daily, to be honest. But for now, we can organically grow it and shape it how we want, and that's super unique, and we feel really, again, blessed, that's the word I keep throwing around, but blessed and lucky to be able to shape it and mould it from its inception how we want. And Dave and I are so grateful to be able to do that.
It's brilliant. It's beautiful.
Can I?
No, you go, Rexy.
Can I touch on? Unfortunately, the industry hasn't got as many female sales agents. A lot of property managers, not many female sales agents. And you're a successful female sales agent and a director and a like. But if you're looking back, or if you're advising someone that's new to the industry, how do you succeed as a sales agent? Unfortunately, being female in an industry that's
and
so...
balance. Like balance your life, because it's harder for a female to balance everything.
I think it is.
Just work hard. Don't overthink it. Be classy in your approach is something, and that's not to be sexist to females, but have decorum. I think don't.
Is it difficult? That's fine. Is it difficult because males can be very friendly, but if a female's friendly, it can be misinterpreted by a male?
Potentially, and this is a really contentious topic, I think, Rex, because I feel people can be friendly, but as a female, you can open the door to that friendliness or you can shut it. You know what I mean? And I've been one that has never held that door ajar. It's been shut firmly. And so I've never had an issue arise where I could have had issues potentially, but for me, it's never worth it for a male or a female, right? So that door is ajar, you're still inviting that into your space. And for me, energetically, I've always kept that quite firmly shut. And it served me well, to not have any instances occur that have gotten carried away. And of course, every female, every male finds himself in a, predicament every now and then. It's human nature. Sometimes alcohol's involved. You're letting loose. You got 100 people at a Christmas party, whatever it is. But it's up to you as a human. Like, you can control that, I believe. Some things are out of your control. Some things are unfortunate. Some things can be forceful as well. But I feel you hold the key to that door, and you can open it, you can shut it, is how I feel. And for a female, it's just, being self-aware, having self-worth, and getting to where you want to be with your own hard work and discipline, I think, as is the exact same for a male, by the way. But females, gift or curse, can sometimes get places through other avenues, perhaps. But,
I think you also mentioned, though, Zoe, having the ability to tap into your masculinity, and not in a derogatory term, but being a strong female means having to sort of tap and balance between when to highlight your femininity and when to tap into your masculinity. And the most successful female agents have got the balance of both, where they know to use their femininity to their power and to their advantage, but then to tap into that masculinity when that it's going, it could affect pushing a personal boundary.
Absolutely.
Having that balance is something we don't speak about a lot, but it's almost critical to know it really, really well.
I don't think masculinity necessarily needs to be defined as being a male. It could be just defined as more like your assertive side, perhaps. And I feel most top performing females in business or life have a very strong masculine side to them. Like, I could safely say, between the likes of me, Nancy, and Natalie, like, we'll kick the guys' asses if we need to, like, verbally, of course, and stand up for ourselves if we need to. But it is a healthy balance. And same with the male, like, your feminine side needs to also come through at times as well. And it's about a healthy balance. But for me, I probably always led with my masculine, and then my feminine is probably my undertone more so. So maybe that's my benefit or my advantage when I'm sitting at the table across from someone I don't know.
Can I touch on sacrifices?
Sure.
As an agent, there's a lot of sacrifices I think you need to make. How do you deal with that? Is it through Bowie, for a supportive partner? What do you go, talk about the sacrifices and how you handle it?
I mean, sacrifices, I think, are more so found at the beginning of your career rather towards not the end or the peak.
Saturdays, for example, you have to do.
Can I tell you, Rex, if I have a Saturday off now, it's been, I think, 11 or 12 years in real estate. If I have a Saturday off, I don't know what to do with
Yeah, I was
myself.
going to say you wouldn't know what to do with yourself.
I'm so conditioned to it.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing
But
necessarily.
that's a sacrifice because
sure.
most people don't work on a Saturday.
For sure. The reward is that I come to work in my tracksuit pants with my dog and leave early if I want to at times, right? But, you know, Dave and I had an appraisal at 7:30 on Tuesday night. You know, he sacrificed being at home with his family. I sacrificed doing what I needed to do or wanted to do. But there's reward in the sacrifice as well, and it's a healthy balance. And I think at the beginning of your career, there's more sacrifice than reward. But as time goes on, the reward very much outweighs the sacrifice. But, you know, when I was younger in my 20s and, you know, out of home for the first time with my best mate, we had the party house and the boys would go out on a Friday night and I'd be at home getting ready for my opens the next day. And I do remember that, but fast forward 10 years down the track, you know, the reward has been there for me. So, you know, any career in sport, in academics, you know, in real estate, of course there's sacrifice, but you do it for the reward, the gold at the end of the rainbow, so to speak. But sacrifice, the big one's probably time and energy. And there's days, you know, numbers at the moment at open homes have been super high, which is awesome. But I had a couple of weeks ago, I had about 7 properties open. I probably met between 10 to 20 people at each open home. So I spoke physically to over 100 people. And it wasn't in-depth conversation, but as simple as saying, hey, I'm Zoe, nice to meet you. What's your name and number? What do you think of the property? Saying that 100 times in the space of 3 or 4 hours. I got home and I was like, I have no words left for anyone. Like, do not speak to me. My phone went on do not disturb. Probably had a nap, whatever. There's days like that. But then equally, you know, there's days that, you know, in reverse, where you go out, it's a sunny day, you meet people, the energy is good, the energy exchange is really positive, and you come home feeling upbeat and excited about getting on with your day after that. So, you know, like a little kitty cat there. For me, there's far more reward than sacrifice. But it is hard yakka, the industry, and, you know,
the physical drain doesn't get spoken about enough, does it? Like the actual physical...
And the burnout.
Yeah, the mental drain, sorry. Yeah.
Like, as I said, numbers have been really strong the past month. And the other week I called Arthur and I said, I'm really burnt out already. Like, I need a day. And I took a day. I went to yoga, I had a sauna, I had a dip in the ocean, I walked the dog. And I was like, okay, I'm back. I've grounded, I'm refreshed, I'm recharged, I've purged, I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
So you've got to take that time, and I unapologetically have done it my whole career.
Right.
If I need time off, or to go have a swim in the ocean, or to equally go have a night out with my friends, I take it, because the impact is so positive that if you don't, you just become this tightly wound ball, and you're going to implode at some point.
Yeah.
And I have had that before. I've witnessed it before. So the balance is so important, and learning that and getting it right, I think as soon as you possibly can is really important.
It's not work-life balance, it's work-life integration. You just got to integrate them in together and look at your schedule and go, it might not be a whole day, but it could be, you know, a Thursday at 4 where you leave for 2 hours to recharge before later on. I think that's where a lot of people go wrong in real estate, and why the burnout is so astronomical. It's because they think they need to make their first call at 8 and stay in the office until 8, when really it's about integrating your life into the role.
But what's your schedule like? Because if you've got busy opens, you're quite busy, but then are you prospecting for when these properties get sold? And how do you manage and how you discipline to stay when you're busy, still prospecting? Because once these properties sell, as you know better,
It's a never-ending pipeline.
it's never ending.
Yeah.
Well, but these properties will lead to more listings potentially.
For sure.
But you need to be on, the more appraisals you get, the more listings you get.
Success.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I'm reasonably structured. I used to, like, when I was first in real estate, I'd be like, I'm not structured at all. Like, no, I got no structure. And one day Matt pulled me aside and said, stop saying that. You are so structured. You know, you exercise here, you do your opens here. Like, as simple as it was, these little things, I recognise that structure does set you free. And again, like I said, if I'm not working on a Saturday, I'm like discombobulated. Like, what am I doing? But structure, again, it's paramount to success. And if it's as little for me as I'm in work early on a Monday, I make my callbacks, I do opens on Wednesday, Thursday, I have a day off on Friday, and I do my opens on Saturday. And along that way, I slot in my exercise and my free time with friends. That's as simple as it needs to be. as far as prospecting goes, the beauty of longevity in a career is that at some point that can peter out because the leads become organic. And right now in Elwood and where I'm at in my career, prospecting isn't as required as it was a few years ago.
Yep.
So now a lot of the leads that we're getting are organic, whether we've met them in an open home, whether they've seen the sold
missing
board.
on opportunities, because if you're getting this lead and having the success without the prospecting, if you add the
You
prospect,
can always prospect more, Rex. You're absolutely right.
Sorry,
I do prospect.
Yeah.
It's just not like
It's hard as
I've
it
got
was
3
when you
hours on a
started.
Monday that I've got to
Yeah.
prospect. Like,
do you use teams? Like, do you have a team to prospect for you, do opens
Yep.
for you? Like,
So our junior agents or our assistant selling agents, our buyer agents, they're more heavy on the prospecting. I do prospect, Rex. I call my database, all that kind of stuff. But it's just become less important where I am today. You can always do more, and there's always room to grow in real estate, which is the beauty of it. You have an uncapped earning potential and an uncapped success. If you want to just call and call and call, of course you're going to be able to do more. But you talk about the work-life balance now. Like, I don't want to sit there all day and lose my voice. So I'm selective now, and you know what I do, my capacity. I sell 70 to 80 properties a year of my own self-generated listings. It's over a property a week. It's a lot to do. Of course I could do more, but I'm really comfy where I am.
But at what cost? At what
Exactly.
cost? So you have
Yeah.
that physical burnout, no gym, mental burnout, not spending time with friends, not spending time with family. You know?
I think, and I could be, my profession is not realist. I mean, I'm a lawyer, so I have a big team. I could not do what I do without my team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so if I was an agent, I'd probably have a team for prospecting,
For
a
sure.
team for opens. I'll
For
pop
sure.
in and I'll oversee it, but I think we've all got 24 hours in a day. If we have
Absolutely.
the right teams and we can empower them and structure them properly, they'll do that hard work.
Oh, yeah.
Then there is
With
no
tech and AI now and social media and marketing and brand presence and, you know, there's so many other aspects that are just
Our best prospecting is our results.
yeah.
You know, people call us off the back of a result. You know, that was a ripper. Have you got a buyer left over? That's the best prospecting, when it almost is reverse engineered and it comes to you. The best prospecting is a sold sticker. We're really lucky. Our position in Elwood, we're in the kind of thick of the main drag, and we have a zebra crossing that walks across, and our office is there.
That's perfect.
So we'd get hundreds, if not thousands, potentially, of people walking literally into our office every day or every week. We use that. Like, we had a Santa photo over Christmas. Bowie's been there. Bowie's always in the office front. Like, someone come pat me. We put testimonials up. We put solds up. Like, we try to get a bit creative with it and draw the person in. It's funny, we can see, because it's like a big laminate sticker, you can see out, but you can't see in. And so we're watching people every day come up and read our testimonials and go, and have a chat and point at these properties. And, you know, prospecting doesn't always need to be picking up the phone, I guess, is the point I'm trying to make. And, you know, prospecting over the phone is labour. And if we can remove the labour, how awesome is that? So we've been quite creative in generating those organic leads. And to be honest, being in Elwood, like, just a stat to throw out there, our market share in Elwood in the Buxton office grew by 48% in the past 12 months.
Wow.
So, and that's just from simply sitting in that office.
With a year of being open.
48%, it's a massive number.
But Zoe, you were predominantly apartments only in St Kilda for
a long time.
a very long time. And now you've opened Elwood, which isn't as apartment heavy.
Yeah.
Has your skill set had to transition from mostly apartments? Like, or is that...
You know, it's an interesting question. The answer's no. Like, money doesn't define someone. And so whether you own a 500 grand apartment or a $5 million house, does your asset define who you are as a human? And typically the answer's no, it doesn't. It's harder to sell an apartment than a house, let me tell you. So to sharpen my skill set over 10 years selling incredibly challenged properties that have cladding or leaking or no parking or under 40 square metres, and pivot to homes that have a larger buyer pool of people that are educated, it's actually much easier. And that's what we've discovered in coming to Elwood. There has been a shift from apartments to houses for the sole purpose of they're easy to sell and the reward is far greater in the financial gain.
Yeah.
So I don't care what I sell. If the property is enjoyable to stand in, which most are in Port Phillip, and the client is good to get along with. We get along and I want to help them. That's good business, whether it's a small fee or a high fee. For us now, I think discernment brings longevity, and we now have the benefit of being able to choose our clients, right? Whereas back in the day, it's almost like, how much can I list? Let me gather. And then you're like, oh gosh.
But is there different phases in anyone's career or business journeys that, there's a prospecting and
for sure
growth stage?
The start, you'll take anything.
For sure.
I look back, to what I did when I started and their brands that I recruited for and how they treated me to now, and I'm just like, I know who my people are and who I relate to, and that's who I'm going to look after.
And there's power in that. And again, that's a journey to get to that point, because when I first started, it was like, going up against a director from another company that sold 100 a year and I sold 10. Any opportunity was a great opportunity for me. But now it's understanding, for me, the number one, if there's a pie chart of success, my number one slice is mental health.
Yes.
It's my number one success. I want to feel good in my head. And that's a challenge for most people daily. And so how do I get to that stage of feeling good 24/7? And it's through who I'm surrounding myself with, how I spend my days, and energetic exchanges between clients, which encompasses most of my week. 40 to 60 hours of my week is spent speaking to buyers and sellers and colleagues. That energy exchange is so important. So choosing your client, tick. Choosing your employees, tick. Choosing your business partners, tick. Like, that slice is growing.
I like that. I like that a lot. Because it's so big. But can I just add in though, before you can get to that point, and this is where I think a lot of the younger agents coming in, they want to be there now.
For sure.
They want to be selective. They want to have a say over everything. To get to that point, you need to go through the prospecting phase, the take on everything phase, I hate to say it, the burnout phase, to then really truly get to know who you are by the end, to then be able to create your life by design. But it takes a period of time to get to that point.
I don't mean to disagree, but I slightly see it different. And maybe because I'm a male and I'm not trying to be sexist in any way, but I think people treat you the way you let them treat you. If you allow someone to talk a certain way to you, they will. And if you stop that from the outset, they won't.
For sure.
And maybe through your journey, if they spoke to you like, you would never allow that now, but you allowed it then.
But energetically is different though. You can just energetically not align to somebody. You can be in a room with someone and they're still nice to you, but you energetically, or you don't like the way they do business, or you don't align with what they're doing, for you to have the ability to say no.
Sorry, it's not how I do business. I'm not the right person for you.
I love having a joust with a buyer or a vendor. Get a little rise from it. Not every minute of every day, but yes, I hear what you're saying. You've got to push back at times.
You do.
There's a bit of fun in that, in life in general, right?
It's not to have a fight. It's your opinion, and everyone's entitled to their opinion.
I call it a joust.
I like that word.
I like a joust much better than that.
But I still think to be able to choose who you surround yourself with is awesome.
Yep.
And that's success for me now. It's good business, good friendships, good energy. That to me is my biggest success. And I've worked really hard to not only recognise that, but now achieve it as well. The recognition of what success is to you is a really long journey, I think, when you're a bit younger, especially in real estate. And
it changes, I think.
Well, most people think, and it was for a moment for me, it's my number, it's collecting an award at the Buxton Awards, How did that serve me? Did that give me a dopamine hit? Okay, then it's hitting this GCI. Okay, it's having this person in my team. It's being number one in the marketplace. That's awesome, but that's not what's most important now to me. And I would say to most top performing agents, success is not numbers or what's in your bank account. It's how you spend your days and how you're feeling when you go home.
Or is it how you satisfy your why, whatever your why is? If you can do something from a work perspective, career perspective, satisfy your why, you're successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And money
for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, it's different for everyone.
What is your why?
Freedom and experience. Yeah, I think without real estate, the things that I've seen and done and the people that I've met, I wouldn't have had that in my life. So it's opened doors for me in ways I never could have imagined, because you meet such a vast, eclectic mix of people, both in the industry.
Especially in St Kilda.
Oh,
the stories you would have.
we've got some good stories. Actually, I'm not going to say that. I say about St Kilda, and this is true, I used to own and live on Fitzroy Street.
Oh.
And everyone's like, Fitzroy Street? And I'm like, no, it was awesome. I could walk out the door in my tracksuit pants or my suit, and I was at home.
Yeah.
You know, you can't do that in some suburbs. You couldn't walk out the door on your tracky dags. But we meet such a diverse range of people, you know, and that's what keeps it exciting. That's why I've actually loved St Kilda for as long as I have, because it's not vanilla. It's so diverse, you know.
One of the most diverse
for sure.
suburbs in the whole of Victoria.
You either love it or you hate it. And don't get me wrong, there's moments where I've loved it and I've hated it, but I do have a very deep, like, first love for St Kilda, you know. And whilst I've jumped...
You've seen the probably transition from what it was to what it is.
It's going through a bit of a hard spell at the moment, St Kilda, but the beauty of where I have worked, St Kilda is a timeless suburb. You don't come from Europe to travel to Melbourne to go to Bentley.
It's iconic.
Respectfully.
St Kilda is iconic. It's a landmark.
You go to St Kilda, like it is. And, you know, I went to the Catani Gardens the other day and was just having a picnic with a friend, and then walked across to the vineyard, and these ravers all just had their speaker playing music, and I was just like, I was there for an hour, but I was like, what a vibe. Like, you don't find this everywhere in Melbourne, and this is my backyard, this is my home. So I've loved where I've worked. I feel very lucky to have stumbled again into St Kilda and now at Elwood. So
Love that. Zoe, you're a strong, beautiful, successful woman. What advice, as a final question, what advice would you give to younger Zoe?
Ooh.
She's still young.
Don't know.
No, but younger. It's challenging us today, Zoe. It's male energy.
What a joust.
We'll joust you. Bowie's on our side too.
I know, Bo's on my side. But
I would never hurt you, Bex. Gentle.
I would never hurt anyone.
Don't overthink it, and have confidence. And what other people think of you is none of your business. That would probably be the advice that I would give my younger self, and just to believe in yourself. I think if you impart those statements or phrases or beliefs in you, you've got nothing to lose. And I'm trying as best as I can to live by a couple of those phrases at the moment.
Sounds like you're doing really well.
Thank
Living
you.
by them. Zoe, Bowie.
Bowie,
Just
come
in
on.
time.
Come on.
It has been an absolute pleasure having the two of you.
Hello, madame.
The Queens of Elwood.
Yeah.
The Queens of Elwood.
Bowie is the queen. She's the princess, actually.
She's the princess.
She's the real boss, but no. Thank you for having me, guys. It's been a
Thank you
pleasure.
so much
Thank
for
you,
Bowie,
joining
what do
Bowie.
you
us.
say?
Aww.
I'm going to say, Bowie, Bowie, woof, 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 woof.
Hey!
That's a wrap.